Welcome to Ideas to Implementation, the podcast for women who have a business idea but feel stuck in a job. Featuring real women with real stories of how they went from employee to boss. Hello, my guest today is entrepreneur and business owner Daniella Genas. Welcome, Daniella. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, Simone. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So Daniella, tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, what you do, and how long you've been doing it.
So I currently wear two kind of main hats. The first is founder of She's the Boss. I support developing, aspiring, growing female entrepreneurs to build profitable, sustainable, systems-driven businesses, particularly within the kind of service-based sector. And I do this through online coaching, consultancy, and training programs. I launched officially in 2017 under a different brand name and relaunched as She's the Boss International in 2018. So not a really long time, but I was running a business prior to She's the Boss where I was delivering coaching, mentoring support on an ad hoc basis from around 2010. In addition to She's the Boss, I also am a senior business advisor for Enterprise Europe Network, and I work with SMEs across the East and West Midlands on innovation and growth strategies. So I've been doing that since 2018. So everything is kind of business focused. It's just different, focusing on different businesses and different business challenges.
Yeah, definitely. So you've got that experience. So I guess that helps with your mentoring and coaching other people in their businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you do prior to starting your business? How did you?
So prior to starting my first business, I was at university pretty much. So I studied media and communications at university. I had this big vision of being a media mogul. I kind of wanted to be the UK version of Oprah Winfrey, to be honest. Finished university, realised that in order to do that, I was going to have to move to London and become a runner. I don't like London as a place to live. So I said, I'm not doing that. And then spent about 12 months jumping from job to job. So I'd be at a job for 2 or 3 months, realised that I hated it and quit and find another job. And then started the business, found out about a business startup program and kind of jumped at the opportunity because I had always wanted to run a business and it just seemed like an opportune time to do so. I was unhappy in work, not like the restrictions. And also I hated the fact that I was beholden to a boss. Okay. So once I saw that opportunity, I decided, right, that is the sign that you've been looking for. Let's go and do it.
Wow. So where did that sort of entrepreneurial spirit come from? You know, you said you went from uni to, yes, you did a few jobs, but you always had in your mind you'd be a businesswoman. Where did that come from?
I'd say really it was something that my dad has instilled in me since I was really young. He always used to drill into my head, don't work for anybody else. You need to be in charge of your own destiny. Don't get caught up in the system. That was the line that he used to say all the time. So I always kind of had this belief in my head that for me, working wasn't going to be an option because that's not how I was raised. And I'd say I also demonstrated quite early on kind of entrepreneurial traits. So I remember I used to charge friends to braid their hair at school during lunch breaks and negotiated with my dad to pay me for washing his car instead of paying the car wash people. But I always kind of had this kind of entrepreneurial side to me. So yeah, but I'd say that mainly came from the lessons and the lectures from my dad.
Wow. Okay, I get that. So what's been your sort of biggest challenge with business? Because it's not easy. What have you found?
I would say when I started my first business, the biggest challenge actually was not knowing what you don't know. That you don't know what you don't know, but you need to know it. But how do you learn it if you don't know what you don't know?
Yeah.
And that was a really significant challenge for me. And that was one of the reasons I started my master's. So I did within the first year of starting the business, I started a master's in enterprise because I really wanted to kind of get an understanding of how business worked from a kind of, I suppose, academic perspective. Not necessarily knowing or understanding how to manage finance is a huge challenge in the early days. But really, it was just not knowing anything. Okay. I just decided I wanted to be in business, jumped into it and just didn't have a clue what I was doing. And I definitely noticed, and I've been aware of the difference between starting that business and starting She's the Boss, and seeing the growth, the speed of the growth compared to the two businesses once my knowledge had increased substantially. So this business has been able to grow quicker and on a much more stable footing because of all of the challenges that I learned to overcome and all the lessons learned from running the first business. Wow. And another key one that I've really improved, that was a huge challenge initially, was just going out and asking people to buy from me, trying to sell my products or services. I was really uncomfortable with that, and it was a huge challenge. Even though I recognized the value of what we were offering, I really felt very uncomfortable with trying to sell it. And it's funny because it's something that I always kind of impress upon my clients to do, and say, if you are not asking people to buy from you, why is anybody going to buy from you? Yeah. But that was something, I just hated it, really hated it.
And I know that's a challenge for a lot of people. I can certainly relate to that. So how did you overcome that? Because it's something we as business women have to, or business people have to overcome. How did you personally overcome it?
I saw my bank balance.
Yeah.
There's no money coming in. Like, we're going to have to get over this. Yeah. And to be honest, I would say even with my first business, I didn't overcome it during that time. So I would go through these, that peaks and troughs. So I'd look, there's not that much money coming in. Okay, I need to get on this. And I would make these lists of all of these prospects that I was going to call. And then I would say, on this day, I'm going to spend 2 hours. And then I'd sit and I'd probably get to call number 6 of somebody saying, no, we're not interested. Then I'll do this tomorrow.
Right.
And then tomorrow would come, and then I'd be like, oh my gosh, that was so stressful yesterday. I can't take the rejection. I'll do it tomorrow. And then that would keep happening. Then I would check the bank. Oh my gosh, there's not enough money. I need to do it. And the process would just keep going round and round and round until I sold the business. Really, it didn't ever stop. Okay. Then when I started this business, I knew straight away that we haven't got time for that. So I have been very vocal with, like, because I do an exploration call. So if somebody's interested in what I do, we'll have a half an hour call, and I will very clearly say, look, do you want to go ahead with this? I will contact you in 7 days to see if you want to, and then I contact in 7 days. I ask for the sale. I don't just sit and hope that somebody's going to say yes.
Yeah.
And I say, yeah, it's finding the confidence in what I offer. And social media helps a lot. So making sure that I put calls to action on the end of my post, doing offers, so it's not as it's not as demanding. It's actually, I'm offering you some value. Do you want it? Yeah. And also, not everybody wants it, and just because somebody says no, that doesn't take away the value that I am offering, because I have other clients that love what I do. And actually, if you don't want to pay for it, that's your prerogative. Maybe I'm not the best person for you. Yeah. So I think it's also a confidence thing and a resilience thing. So making sure that I'm not taking it personally, because that's really what used to put me off. Like, if somebody said no, it was the end of the day. Like, oh my God, why don't they want to work with? Whereas now I'm just like, okay, on to the next. Who's next on the list?
That's key. Exactly. Not taking it personally. And like you said, not everybody's going to want your service, but it doesn't take away from the facts, the value that you can offer. That's a big one.
And also, not everybody wants your service right then and there. That doesn't mean that in 6 months' time, and I've had that I've contacted people and there then wasn't the time. And I have clients that would have just, I've been through this with some of my clients specifically, and they'd be like, oh, they said no. Have you contacted them again to follow up? No, because they said that, I think they were just trying to fob me off. Maybe they actually just didn't have the money at that time. And I've got clients on my books right now that have taken 3, 4, 5, 6 months to actually convert into a paying client, because they literally just either didn't have the time or weren't ready to start the process. Yeah. And had I taken it personally and not followed up with them, I would have lost those sales potential.
Exactly. That's good. So what's been the best thing about running your own business? Obviously, you've been doing it for a while, whether officially or not, but what's been the best thing?
Everything. Yeah, so because I do the contract stuff as well. So with the contract stuff, and I always say to people, there seems to be this stigma of people that work and run businesses, like, oh, you're not a real business person if you're running a business. So, but I want to be very clear, that actually doing the contract for me really benefits my business.
Okay.
I'm working with businesses that I never would have potentially ever had the opportunity to work with just through my business alone. So I use the kind of contract as a testing ground for my methods, and also to really stretch and prove that the methods work across sectors.
Yeah.
Then, and it also gives me the flexibility to be able to do that. And then with the business, I love the fact that I can just pretty much do what I want to do. So if I decide this is the method that I want to implement, I can do that. If I decide that I want to have a client meeting at 9 o'clock at night, which I don't, but if I wanted to, I can. And I love the fact that I'm able to add value to the lives and to the businesses of the people that I work with, purely based on what I have decided to do with them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no.
So there's not something that's being dictated to me or imposed upon me of you have to do it like this. And not to say that in a situation where that is the case that you're not adding value, but it's value that's come from somewhere else, whereas the value that I give comes from me. And I really love that. So when I have client feedbacks and testimonials and they say like, because of Daniella, this and this has happened and it changed my life, etc., I know that's because of me personally and the things that I have implemented. And I love that.
Definitely. And how do you balance, you've got a child, you're a mother, how do you balance life and business? Because you mentioned there about, okay, if you want to have a meeting at 9 o'clock, which you don't tend to do, but how do you balance all of that in your time?
With great precision and difficulty. So I am really anal with time. Like a lot of my clients laugh at me because I'm really very rigid and specific. So I break my days up into slots that can range from kind of 45-minute slots to hour and a half slots. And within each slot, I'd have something to do. And that includes spending, and now it's become even more important and imperative that I stick to that, because obviously we were all locked in the house, including my daughter. So I thought it was useful before. The fact that I work like this, it's become even more important now. So I will schedule time with my daughter. I'll schedule time to eat. I will schedule time to pack the dishwasher. Everything is scheduled out, and I'm very strict with it. And some days I'll say, okay, I don't want to do that today. I'm just going to go with the flow. And I notice the difference. On those days when I go with the flow, I'm not very productive. Okay. And it's funny because people say, oh, Daniella, you're so organized. How are you so organized? And actually it's because I'm so disorganized. And that's why I need that structure, because if I don't have structure, I am one of those people that I can sit and do nothing all day and I don't know what I've done. Like the day finished, what did I actually do? I can just stare at nothing and entertain. My brain is just going, so my brain is entertaining myself. I'm not doing anything. So because of that, and also I'm a bit forgetful as well, that's the other thing. So because of that, I have to make sure that everything is written down, it's structured. On a Sunday night, I will plan everything that needs to be done for the week. Normally then on Monday morning, I'll use Trello. I love Trello, which is an app where you can do to-do lists. I will put Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the tasks on the to-do list, I will slot into the days. Then the morning of each day, I will then break it down into kind of 9 till 10, I'm doing this, 10 till 10:45, I'm doing this, and I break it down that way. When I was going out of the house, I'd even put the time for school run, cooking the dinner, everything is regimented. Because if it wasn't for that, I'd sit and stare out the window and scroll on Instagram all day.
Well, it's knowing yourself and knowing what works for you. So, and that's key. So what 3 pieces of advice would you give to a woman who sat watching this, listening to this, she wants to start a business, probably hasn't had the confidence before? What 3 pieces of advice would you give?
Stop hoping and wishing and dreaming and do it. The night, just do it. Like, you're sitting around and waiting for what? And I think this time at the moment, and I've been saying this a lot on my social media, right now is the perfect and opportune time to really sit and assess what you want to do, make a plan, and just do it. And I think a lot of the time we live in lives that are not fulfilling to us, that are not helping us fulfill our purpose, and because of that we're not happy. I am happy. Like right now I'm not as happy as I could be because I'm not allowed out the house, but generally on a week-to-week basis, I am a very happy individual, and that's because I'm doing something that I love. So if you're sitting at home and thinking, I don't really want to go back to that job, or really happy that you're not in your job or in your business, then just work out what it is you want to do and do it. That's the first thing. What I really should have said is think big, take action, keep pushing, because that's my motto. That's the second bit then. Think big, take action, keep pushing. So in terms of think big, have a big plan. Don't limit yourself by thinking small. So one of the key things I always say to clients is, I forgot the phrase, if you aim for the moon, you might reach the stars or something. And a lot of the time,
land on the moon. So that.
I'm terrible at that. You get the gist. But a lot of the time, as women, we can really aim quite small because we're scared. And actually, by doing that, you're really restricting yourself. It's better to aim high, and then even if you don't get there, you're going to get here. Whereas if you aim here, then you get in here. So the think big part, I think, is really important. Obviously, I've already said just do it, so that's take action. And then keep pushing in terms of being resilient, not letting small setbacks just knock you off track. Everything is not going to go in the way that you want it to immediately, but that doesn't mean that you should not continue persevering and pushing forward. Setbacks and challenges and obstacles are put in our way to strengthen us. And I think too often we get scared about those things and think, okay, it must be a sign that I shouldn't do it. No, it's a sign that you need to keep doing it, and this is building you up so that you're able to get to those heady heights of success. You're not going to get there if everything runs smooth. I'm yet to meet a successful business person that just everything runs smooth. So that's kind of 4, but the second one was 3 in 1. So I'm going to still do my third one, which is research. And I think this is really important. So it's not just doing it because, and I said just do it, but don't just do it in a really ill-informed fashion. Make sure that you do some research. So try to understand the marketplace. Try to understand who your target customers are. What are their pains? How are you solving their problem? What is their problem? Is it a problem that needs solving? Research the stories of other people. So watch stuff like this. Obviously, I do She's the Boss Female Entrepreneur Stories. Learn from the mistakes and the obstacles that other people have overcome. Read books. So just research and expand your mind so that you're adequately prepared and informed to be able to do this properly, essentially.
No, definitely.
So
Say that again.
I said, I know I cheated. I kind of gave 5 instead of 3, but
it's absolutely fine. The more advice, the better, and really good advice. I love that. Expand your mind. So just do it, but do it in an informed way, and that's key, because sometimes the danger is people starting businesses but not actually sure, or they're not clear about what they're actually doing. So that's great advice. So Daniella, lastly, how do people connect with you? Give you details.
Primarily at the moment, Instagram is my favorite place. I respond the quickest there because, as I just said, I spend time scrolling. So on Instagram, I am at She's the Boss INTL. You can also email me, Daniella at she'sthebossintl.com. I'm on LinkedIn as Daniella Genas. I'm on Facebook as Daniella Genas, She's the Boss, and I'm on Twitter at She's the Boss INTL.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure there'll be lots of people that want to connect with you, because great advice. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate that. Thank you for listening to Ideas to Implementation. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time.